Good morning from Rome, dearest people, and as Americans would say, Rome, Italy, just in case. We talk about how in the Buddhist view, we talk about we've got the unhappy, I-based, fear-based states of mind. We all know them so well, they're so painful. Attachment, anger, these things. And then we have the so-called positive ones. It's not being moralistic. Love, compassion, kindness, generosity, these ones. We know these very well. But part of the problem is we mix them all together like a big soup. Because I think in our way of in the world, in the philosophical materialist view of the world, we think a normal person has a little bit of all of these. Well, this approach here we're describing, the so-called Buddhist one, is that we've got all these states of mind, but we have to learn to distinguish between them for the most simple reason that attachment, anger, blah, 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 they cause pain. Not to mention causing us to then make a mess of our relationships, etc. And the other ones, and it's not rocket science, they cause us to be happy. They're more spacious. They're connected to others. I think if we analyze and experience and identify this, we will see it as true. But the job to distinguish is the most difficult one because they're all like in a big soup mixed together, like I talk, So there's one pair, for example, it sounds surprising to mix anger with compassion. We think, what does that mean, Well, if you look outside in the world and you see suffering, we see the dog being kicked by the guy, for example. Well, immediately we have compassion for the dog, but the next millisecond it turns into anger to the guy. Because we have this assumption that somebody's suffering is caused by something out there. And it's not totally wrong. It's true, but it messes up the compassion. So I always remember Martin Luther King. It blew my mind, He said, it's good to find fault. It's good to have anger, meaning find fault. Look at the suffering in the world. Look at the racism. Look at the sexism. Look at the poverty. But then you say, what can I do to help? Then it becomes productive. Because then just turning around and blaming the guy and wanting to get angry with him, that destroys everything. And you become paralyzed. Doesn't help, So that's kind of profound. Anger is one thing. Blame, how dare, and compassion is more open. And if we make it powerful, what can I do? That helps us as well as helping others. And of course, the added one, just because you do something doesn't mean it's going to change. It mightn't necessarily, but you persevere. You don't give up. You help one little bit at a time, one step at a time. But the point I'm making here is that the helping of others, the compassion, is good for us. This is a very powerful point.